I really am grateful for each of you being here tonight. It's really touching. Lisa and I are just overwhelmed with the support that we've received in running for State House and certainly undertaking this journey. We're so pleased that you've chosen to be here with us. There are some folks here that I do want to recognize because they have taken similar journeys, and they are either have a break right now. There are some who are venturing out as well. There's a number of elected officials here I want to recognize, but more importantly, before I do that, I want to see, I don't know if she left with the governor, I don't know if my wife's here somewhere. Hey Lisa, my wife Lisa, thank you for being there. I see my mom right there back here. And there's my son Carson sitting right there waving. There's the drummer with his band Inner-Peace, my oldest son Connor. Tommy and Ann Cox, my brother, best sister-in-law in the world. Thanks for recognizing us. Okay, there are a number of people here that are elected and that are running, and I just want to welcome if you're still here, Sheriff Scott Larry. You here, Sheriff? Yeah. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Sheriff, for being here. Old County Commissioner Mike Rover is here. I know he's got another event. Thanks for being here, Mike. I appreciate it. Former chair of the Gwinnett County Republican Party and candidate for House District 101, Buzz Rock, is here somewhere. Thank you. Senator Ronnie Chance is here from Peachtree City somewhere. Hey, Ronnie. One of the tall guys. Sheriff Bruce Conway is here, the hero of the 287G program. Sheriff Conway. Senator John Douglas, candidate for Public Service Commission, is also here. Thank you, Senator. I saw Melvin. Thanks, Melvin. Gary Guan is here. Gary's running for State Senate. Senator Seth Parker is here and running for Insurance Commissioner. Senator, good to see you. Captain Meyer was here. There you are. Thank you for being here, Captain. We appreciate what you do. You're great. Thank you for being here. The Mayor of Snellville, the Honorable Jerry Oberholzer, is here as well. There he is, Jerry. Thank you for being here. Louisville City Councilman Eddie Price is here somewhere. You need to work on the farm. I saw the chairman of the Walton GOP, which is part of the district, Roy Roberts, is here. Mr. Chairman, are you still here with us? No? Well, you don't get platform then. Lawrenceville City Councilwoman Katie R. Smith is here. Katie, you still here? Where's she's going? And we have Grayson City Councilman Tammy Shoemake is here as well. Tammy, you still here with us? No? And Keith Schumer is a candidate to run for county commission. I know Keith's here. There you go. There's a lot of brass in the room. Thank you for being here. I'm honored to have you. You know, so yeah, I'm gonna run for Congress. You know, this is something that sort of came to us with Congressman Linder retiring on March 1st of this year. And my family and I had a very prayerful few days to decide whether or not we wanted to take this on. And after making that decision, we came to an absolute and positive yes, we're going to take this on, because I absolutely believe that our republic is at stake in this election cycle. We are dealing with a federal government in Washington, D.C. who has shunned the United States Constitution, the rule book for our republic. And I am greatly concerned that my drummer and my lineman, Connor and Carson, will have very little, if any, economic liberty and opportunity if we do not turn the ship around. Most of y'all know, for those of you you don't, I've lived in Gwinnett County since I was 5 years old. I graduated from Brookwood High School back in 1932, I think it was. I was able to go kick footballs in college at Western Carolina University, and I played ball up there for a guy named Bob Waters. Very nice. That's really impressive. Most people don't even know where Kelly is. We have one stoplight here, and it flashes, you know. But it's learning from Coach Waters, who had Lou Gehrig's disease. He was a guy who recruited me and walked up and shook my hand. And by my junior year, he was completely in a wheelchair, and the only muscles that worked in his body were his mouth. And he operated his wheelchair with a device with his mouth hooked to the mechanism, and he had a speaker that went down to the sound system below next to the wheels. And that's how he coached us. You didn't miss a day of practice at Western Carolina. Because Coach Waters was out there early in the weather and snow. You got yourself in practice, and you learned a work ethic that was, simply put, never quit. Never quit. Came home from college and came back to Gwinnett County. Didn't think of going anywhere else. This is where I wanted to raise my family. If I could talk someone into marrying me, this is where I wanted to do that too. I married way up and have been trying to make up for that for a long time, almost 20 years. And my wife and I she was a probation officer, and I was desperately trying to get a job to do something in corrections, and finally did. She and I saw that, you know, in the probation world, people on probation they're set up to fail. They're put on probation and they're told they have to have a job, but they have to report to probation 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, and there's work to do. And they got to make money to pay their fines, but they got to just work to report, and then they can't pay their fines, so we put them in jail. And on we go. We learned very quickly that the government is not the answer. And so we started a business that privatized probation offender management and gets people out of the rolls, gets them into counseling, lets them report on Saturdays and evenings in success, and they turn their life around. So we learned government's not the answer. We learned hard work. And in 2004, I was so very proud to be part of the Republican Revolution here in Georgia that for the first time since the Civil War, took the state house for the Republican Party. And when you think about the last Republican Revolution that happened up in Washington, D.C. in 1994, anybody remember the contract with America? I remember watching those returns to me, and then Lucy and I couldn't believe it. I mean, we've got both chambers of Congress. We've got the White House. We're finally going to implement policy. We're finally going to take our country back. It's going to happen. And they sat on their hands. They did nothing. They didn't seal the border. They didn't pass the fair tax. They didn't amend tax policy. They grew government. Maybe a little slower, but they still did it. Folks, that's unacceptable. Fast forward to 2004, in the Georgia Republican Revolution, we got busy. We passed eminent domain reform, tort reform, voter ID, the toughest child predator law in the country. We passed a law creating the Dream House for medically fragile children as a licensed entity. We passed sweeping telecommunications reform, getting rid of $300 million in subsidies that were in your phone bill until now. And we have balanced 6 budgets in down times with this novel concept we call cut spending and not raising your taxes. So I'm the only person in this race that's done 3 critical things. Balanced a family budget, balanced a business budget, and I'm the only person that's ever been elected in this race and has balanced a legislative budget. I am the most qualified candidate. And this is my rule book, the United States Constitution. If you don't have one, you ought to pick one up. If you read one of these, you'll find that there are some things that you may be surprised are not in this. And many of you heard me talk about this, but I think it's worth repeating. There is not one word in this Constitution about the federal government being in the auto manufacturing business.